What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. This is TW Motorsports, and today we are going to be doing some cleaning thanks to Super Clean. Okay, so you can see I've got my Super Clean shirt, I've got my Super Clean hat, and they have sponsored me, and this video is going to be using some of their products. Now, when I got this thing, I told you guys that I was going to be doing a cleanup, and I'm going to show you guys kind of how I approach cleaning a vehicle that I just purchased that isn't up to my standards as far as clean. Everything that I own, if you ever get in any of my vehicles, they are super clean. I cannot stand driving a dirty car. Now the outside, you know, on days when it rains and stuff, can't do much about that. But as far as the inside, I hate sitting in a dirty car. Won't do it. It just drives me absolutely crazy. You guys know on the S10 out there that I pulled the seat out and like shampooed the carpets and put a new seat in. I mean, that's how picky I am. And that's like a truck that I just used to go get rocks and stuff. So this is going to be no different. Now, Super Clean has been around for quite a while. And honestly, guys, before this even happened, before they sent me this stuff, the shirt, the hat, and all this product, I actually used their stuff before. So I'm not new to their products. Now, there is a couple things here that I've never used before. So I've never used their wheel cleaner. And so we're going to be doing interior clean, so it's not really going to be relevant here. The main thing that I've used out of all this, I've never used floor absorbent, is just their all-purpose like degreaser and cleaner. And so today we're probably going to be using most of that, would be my guess. We might try a couple of these other things just to see kind of how they work. But let's take a look at what we're working with. So this thing, honestly, guys, is not terribly bad. It was in a dusty environment, and I'm sure they drove with the windows down and whatnot. And that's what just like stuff like this, you can see, look how good the carpet looks under the floor mat. We want it to look that good everywhere. Same thing with like in the doors, you know, there's just dust, there's toothpicks. I saw a fingernail on that one over there, which is kind of gross. And the other thing I can't stand is look how dirty these jambs are. I just can't deal with stuff like that. It just makes me absolutely nuts. So we are going to start by tackling this interior. We'll probably do the exterior in a separate video because this is going to take a majority of my time. I do wish that this was a four-door truck, but it's not. It doesn't have a door here, which I guess is less jam to clean, but it just makes it a little harder to access spots back there. You can see, check out all the dust, dirt, and grime in the floor. To be honest with you, I think a good vacuum would go a long way, but we're gonna get started. And I think the very first thing we're gonna start with is I'm gonna take all of the floor mats out and we're gonna give it a good vacuum just to start. I really wanna start with the door jambs, and then I'm gonna start at the top and kind of work my way down. That's generally the way I do things. And sometimes you might see me vacuum a couple times. I'm one of those people that I might vacuum a car 3 or 4 times. I generally do an initial vacuum just to get kind of the dirt and debris out of the way. And then that way, when I'm standing in there, I'm not pressing more dirt back in. And then as I knock stuff off, I might vacuum it again, and then I'll do windows, and a lot of times I vacuum it at least 3 times. So generally you'll see me vacuum 3 times. But anyway, let's get the floor mats out of place all the way around, and we're gonna start with a vacuum, and then we'll probably, I'm gonna take the seats out, but I think I'm gonna leave those in while I have something to set on while I clean, you know, on the dash and on the door panels. I can use my little chair, but yeah, the seats are going to be coming out. So let's get started. So at this point, you can see that I have all the floor mats out. I've got the seats pushed all the way forward. So let's get started. Probably going to time lapse most of the vacuuming, and as well as like the interior cleaning. You know, I'll stop here and there and show you guys kind of what parts I'm using. But let's get going. let's take a look at just what one pass with the vacuum looks like. Pretty big difference. This other side, there was a ton of dirt. You know, the driver generally has more dirt, but pretty good outcome right now for just a vacuum. Also, you can always tell stuff about people that had the vehicle before. They were definitely fingernail biters. I know that sounds gross, but just fingernails everywhere. It's just disgusting. All right, so at this point, like I said, I just like to vacuum first. That way, when I'm stepping in here, I'm not crunching that dirt back into the floor even deeper. But you'll see me vacuum, like I said several times. I'm going to set you guys up. I'm gonna see if I can get a little more light in here, but I'm gonna set you guys up. I'm gonna start with the dash, because the headliner is actually in really good shape with no stains on it. I will tell you guys, the way I generally clean headliners, I don't get real aggressive with them. Sometimes I'll grab my steam cleaner and use the steam cleaner on them, but most of the time they're really easy to clean just with maybe some of that super clean on a microfiber and literally just rub on the spots that are soiled, and generally comes out. But I'm gonna start probably on that side and kind of work our way down through the dash here. What I'm gonna start out with is some super clean, a microfiber, and instead of spraying it directly on this dash, these dashes are really known for the paint flaking off of them, and it's got a section right here that's pretty flaked off, and so I don't want to spray directly on that. So I'm just gonna kind of lightly get this wet, and barely any at all. I mean, this dash is not terrible. There's a couple, it looks like somebody touched their hand with mud to the dash, but I don't want to get super aggressive or use too much of this on the dash, because then we're going to have even more peeling than we already have. So we're just going to use that to kind of wipe the dust off. This dash is not really terrible. Just this one, there was looked like a muddy handprint. I don't know what was going on there. But... And then when I get down to areas like this, you can see I've got a couple different detail brushes. So this one's better for like deeper cracks and crevices. I've got this little one that I've cut down. I've probably had this thing, I don't even know how long I've had it, probably 20 years or longer. But it's great for like spots like that, you know, where that dust sets and just looks terrible. And then for bigger areas, you know, where I can't get in there with that brush, this one works well for it. And I'll list all this stuff in the description down below. This one works better for vents, obviously, because you can get in. And I like the less chemical here, the better, guys, in my opinion. Really where this super clean comes in strong is on the floors. It seems like this is more of a dusting than it is a cleaning. Now if you've got mud setting, you know, it might be okay for that. I'll come back in here with the light and see if there's areas I missed, because chances are there will be. Now, for about 99% of people out there, this would be what, good enough, right? It's probably, I vacuumed it one again, and but this just isn't to my level, guys. Once you get a car really clean, if you keep it clean, you know, randomly vacuum it, you don't have to do this all the time. If you just wipe stuff down after you wash it, you know, you don't have to get crazy. Wipe the dash off, clean some vents out here and there, but I want to take the seats out because a majority of like smells and stuff in a car could be something under the seat that you just can't see. So the very first thing I'm going to do, because this is airbag equipped, is I'm going to undo the battery. Should just be a 10 millimeter. I won't show you guys that, but then we're going to grab, I believe these are 15 in the front, or maybe they're 11 in the front, 15 in the back. It's actually inverted hex, and I don't have one, so I just use a 12.11 and actually a 6 point will work, but an 11 and a 15. So we're gonna get the seats out of this thing, get that center console out, and I bet we're gonna see some surprises under there. I am not going to take the rear seat out, however. I'm just gonna leave it in place because it actually, the back isn't terrible. Remember when I said, can't imagine what you'll find? There you go. And honestly, guys, this carpet is in stellar shape. It's actually in really good shape. The only other thing, before I start to vacuum here, I'm gonna pull these seal plates off. I don't know, I might take the kick panel off as well, but I'm for sure gonna pull these seal plates off because a lot of times dirt gets, you know, tucked up under there. So we might as well pull those off. Doesn't take long. You really need to do it after the seats are out anyway. So we'll do that. We'll clean both sides of them, you know, get it vacuumed up real good. You can see there's kind of a dirt line there that I can't really get to. So we'll get those out of the way. They just snap off, and then we'll grab the vacuum and go at it. So before I do any kind of like spot treatment, like I said, this carpet's in really good shape. So I'm gonna take my drill brush and I'm just gonna agitate this carpet. I'm gonna try to break some of that the fiber loose in spots where, you know, it's kind of chunked up and some of this dirt kind of stays in place. So I'm gonna go over, you know, maybe like a 2 foot by 2 foot section, and then I'm gonna vacuum it. And I'm gonna do that all the way around the vehicle before we put any kind of chemical or anything on it. Actually switched over to the bigger brush on my drill to make it go a little faster. But it looks like I ran into something here, like gum maybe. I noticed it was caked up in the carpet, and then when I hit it with that brush, it just went crazy. But I'm gonna show you guys before I pull out what I normally would use on this, which is my steam cleaner. There's a couple trains of thought here. My steam cleaner is really good for getting stuff clean, like the top of it clean, so not like deep down stains. I mean, it'll blow like tar apart and gum apart, and I think we'll be able to get that out with that. But normally, if the carpet's really dirty, I'd like to use my extractor, which I've got a really cheap extractor. I really need a more expensive one, but the steam cleaner I have is a pretty expensive one, and you know, probably a lot of you guys aren't going to rush out and buy one. But I'm going to use some of this super clean and just show you in these heavily soiled areas. So I'm just using that, and this towel's actually clean. It looks bad, but you can literally just rub back and forth and look at how much it's gonna bring up just by hand. Now, granted, this is gonna take you a little more time, but in those areas that are, you know, not terrible, this may be the best method, and you don't have to go out and buy any expensive machinery. Now, I do know that there's like your Home Depots, they rent like Karcher carpet extractors, and I've used one of those in the past. They work really well. In fact, I tried to buy one during COVID. Well, I guess COVID's still going on, but I tried to rent one and they wouldn't rent me a carpet extractor because for whatever reason, apparently it spreads germs. I don't know, but so I tried to buy it off of them and they wouldn't even give me that option. So I went online and ended up buying that cheapie that you guys have seen me use in past videos. And so this area here looks way better just going over it, you know, a couple times like this. Now, I'm going to spray it a little more heavily, and I'm going to use my brush on it here. And then we'll give it a final wipe with this towel and take a look at kind of what we've got. Doesn't take much. And what's good about doing it this way is the extractor, man, it gets things soaking wet. You're gonna need to leave your vehicle open for several days. You know, I know a lot of people say, well, take your carpet to the car wash. You're talking like a week of dry time if you do that option. So it's never a big, I mean, I've done it, but it's not my favorite method. So let me go grab my steam cleaner. I'll kind of show you guys what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to go ahead and spray down a lot of these heavily soiled areas. You know, under the seat's not bad. Even this tunnel's not bad. It's actually kind of crazy. And we'll go along, of course, the seals on the other side. And then, you know, where the driver's feet go, it's pretty rough over there. Steam cleaner's still warming up. So we're gonna agitate these areas that I sprayed down. We'll probably spray them again. Just those, you know, the main areas that are always bad are, you know, where the mat doesn't cover. So like this and all that dirt that gets jammed down in there. Honestly, that's probably mostly dust and it's just packed in over the years, but we're getting there. I may vacuum it again too, knocking up a bunch of junk. So I'm gonna be real honest with you. I got my steamer. I'll let some of the water out of it here. But this, I just went over this with just that brush and the super clean. So I don't know, guys, you may not even need to do anything other than just give it a good scrub down with that brush and then vacuum, especially in a case like this. But this area right here is bothering me. And the cool thing about this tip on this is it'll blow, like I said, this will break tar apart and gum apart. The main reason I wanted to get this out too is the door jambs. It just makes cleaning door jambs really easy. But I'm gonna kind of show you guys how I do this. For heavily soiled areas, I kind of put my towel on the other side and brush back and forth, which you'll see. But then we're gonna go over all the carpet with this guy. This is kind of like a, now, I will tell you one thing with steam. If this thing were ever a pizza delivery truck, you're gonna smell. Whatever was in this thing, you are going to smell it and it's going to be on you. So it's really kind of disgusting, but I remember cleaning a stakeout vehicle one time when I was young, and man, when I got this steamer going, it smelled awesome. It smelled like steak, but it's kind of gross. Point you get the idea. I'm not going to show you guys a whole lot of this just because you really can't see much because there's so much steam. But this area right here, I don't know, guys, I've never had an area that I couldn't get out, and it's pulling apart. It's broken it up, but may just have to kind of pick at this area and get this stuff out. I'm going to go back and forth over it with the vacuum and see what we can work out, but at this point it's starting to, some of the fibers of the carpet are starting to come out, so that's better. That's the downside to gum. If I didn't know it was gum to begin with, generally gum just sits on the top of the carpet, I would have hit it with this. I think when I hit it with my brush, it got mixed up in that brush and just made a freaking mess. I don't know, we're gonna go over it a couple times, see what we can get out of there. Let's take a look after one pass with the steam cleaner here. So honestly, like I said, guys, I really think just the brush and a vacuum and that super clean would have done just fine. But since we had the steam cleaner out, I did go ahead and go over the jambs. Like I said, it works really good with that wand on it to blow out grease and debris on the jambs. They are looking way better, especially on the bottom. They were completely caked with junk. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over the seats. I'll show you guys a couple spots in the seats that I think that steam cleaner will do, but I am gonna go over it one more time with the steam, and then we'll give it another vacuum. One of the spots that's really driving me crazy is this right here. I don't know what it is. They spilled something, but I think our steam, I'm gonna go over the whole seat with the steam cleaner, but I think other than that, these seats are really good shape. It's kind of surprising actually, but we're gonna go over that area and see if we can get this junk off, and well, let's just try it. You're gonna get a lot of steam here. I really like this because it doesn't get the seat soaking wet. We're just trying to pull up whatever that is. Just using steam. Doesn't look like it's wanting to come up. It almost looks like glue. There we go, it's starting to come out. Just needs a little more time on it. Well, maybe not. It's loosening it up. Might as well go over the whole seat since we're here. Oh, seat's not bad. You know it's bad when you turn this thing over and it's just black. Now, like I said, I generally don't like to get my seats like really wet, but we're gonna really soak that down. It's pretty tough. I'm pretty sure it's glue, guys. Yeah. It is not going to come out. Just doesn't want to come out. We're going to try one more thing. I'm going to try that wand that I had earlier that I used to blow out the door jambs. We're going to blow across it a little bit and see if that'll be our last ditch effort before we just go over all the seats with the steam. And try this. There. Just needed a little help. I think it is glue though. Should have got a towel to catch it. Let's try to switch over before it dries out. Definitely some sort of glue or wax. We're getting there. I think we're about there. I could probably go over it a couple more times. You just get to the point, you don't know with this model year, you know, how thick is the material, you know, how much wear does it have on it, is it gonna blow through a seam? And I don't want to do that. That'd look worse than what we had, so I think we'll just live with the results here. Definitely looks better. All right, I'm gonna steam the rest of these seats. Then I'm gonna clean, you know, kind of the crevices of them with the brush. And I think we'll move on to the floor mats. Now these floor mats, they're not really my favorite, but they're the factory floor mats and we're gonna use them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna coat them down with some super clean here. And we're going to use our brush. once we get done with that, I'm gonna wipe them down. You guys are probably wondering, like, you know, how's this look when it dries? Well, it doesn't look the greatest when it dries because it's going to be kind of chalky looking. We are going to put some coating on that here in a little bit, make it look really nice. This gets the big stuff out of your way. I go over both sides. I don't use the brush on the other side, but I'm just saying I wipe the other side off. Let's take a look at what we got. This is multiple, I said 2 passes, I guess, with the steam cleaner. And it's all dry now. That's one cool thing, like I said about that steam cleaner, it doesn't just soak things down. So it's looking a lot better. So at this point, I did the seats as well, as you guys saw. And I did the center console. I just cleaned off the rails and stuff. You guys saw that chunks of junk on there. But now, I think we're to the point where I want to go ahead and put the seats back in. But before I put the seats back in, man, this looks so much better. And that area right there, it's just not, man, I got to the point where I was blowing fibers off, and so I've just stopped. I wish that I would have seen that before I hit it with my drill, and I would have been able to get that out. But hey, you got to live with stuff like that. But before I put the seats back in, I'm going to use some Silk Shine dressing. So this is from Chemical, guys. What I like about this, guys, is it doesn't leave, like, it's really shiny when you put it on, but as you start to wipe it down, it just gives a nice sheen and protects things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that rag. We're going to wipe down all the back panels just because they're hard to reach, especially since that door doesn't open. We're going to wipe down this panel, and then I'm going to coat those panels that we took out because they need to go in before the seats. And then once we get the seats in, then we'll probably use that same stuff on the dash and all the interior panels here. But for now, let's get started on the back. I don't even think I'm gonna set you guys up on the tripod to show you that over there because it's so dark and I don't really have any good lighting. So I'll kind of pick it up when I get to the panels and then this door here. So for panels, like out of the car, I generally like to just coat them, you know, separate. And like I said, we're gonna wipe down, it's kind of really shiny right now. I don't know if you noticed on this door panel back here, but we'll take care of that when we get it back together. I just like to make sure that it's coated, kind of put some UV protection on it, and then, man, it will knock down quite a bit of shine when we go over it again. I'll go ahead and put these panels back in place as I go. Kind of go over some of these areas like the door panel, or the door rubber here. This is also one of those things that a little bit goes a long way. Once you get, I've had this towel, I've been using it, you can see it's kind of dirty, but it's pretty well coated in this stuff, so I don't spray a ton. And I used to let this stuff set, so I'd spray it and let it set like overnight and kind of soak in, but because these panels are in such good shape, like I did this on the S10, just because the panels were so dried out, and you know, there's a point where you can't get them back to where they go. They're just too dried out, too sun faded to ever bring any color back into them. I'm trying not to get it on the carpet, but if you do, it's not a huge deal. On this side, I'm going to wipe. I'm not going to spray because I don't want it on the carpet, but I'm going to wipe those petals off. Kind of brighten them up a little bit. Might as well hit this while we're down here. This little dash support. Actually, my hood pop, get it too. So actually, before I put the seats in, you can see some dust and stuff. I'm gonna vacuum it one more time, especially from the back to under the seat. I may not concern myself as much up here because I can get to that with the seat in, but you know, where the seat's gonna cover and the harder stuff to reach back there, I'm gonna go ahead and vacuum it. Now that the seats are back in, I'm gonna take, you know, I told you that I like to let stuff soak, so, you know, certain things that are kind of dried out. I'm gonna put these floor mats, I don't want this crap on my concrete floor, so I'm gonna spray this floor mat down and let it set while we go over the dash. I said the dash, we'll just start here. And generally, these are probably the most dried out. The dash, it just paint peels. It generally doesn't dry out really. The tops of these door panels, they really dry out. Like up here where they meet the window. Probably got a little more on there than I needed. But hey, like I said, we're gonna go back through and wipe it off. So any areas that you might, you know, miss or not get anything, it's really good about leveling out when you go over it a second time with just a dry cloth. Now that we've got it all coated, I'm gonna go back, like I said, with a just clean towel, and we're gonna just wipe this down. I'm not gonna show you guys that. Basically, we're almost finished. I'm still letting those soak. You can see my floor mat. I've got one of them that I've wiped off, another one soaking, and so I'm just kind of letting those go while I'm doing this. So, like I said, I think we're finished. Basically, at this point, I am going to vacuum it probably one more time. We'll put the floor mats in, and then we'll take a look at it all finished up. At this point, guys, we are completely finished up. I've got the floor mats back in. I've got everything vacuumed out. And I have to say, it looks 1,000 times better. And this is the TWA Motorsports way of cleaning a vehicle. I just cannot drive a dirty car, like I said. And even I've taken $1,000 car seats, like the car costs $1,000. I've taken those seats out and cleaned under them. That's how picky I am. So it was awesome that Super Clean reached out to me and gave me this stuff. I'd really like to try some of that other stuff, but this thing wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. You know, those leading edges here, they're all clean. And literally, guys, I don't think that I necessarily, well, you guys saw, I really didn't even need the steam cleaner. I just did that to kind of loosen up any other stuff, kind of go over the carpet. It makes it smell a little better. But that Super Clean just by itself, I think you could do that, and maybe with that drill brush, or even just by hand, and you could get little spots like that up, and it just makes a huge difference. Especially, like, you know, on the seats and stuff. That spot that I had here came completely out. I just think that stuff is quality stuff, guys. Like I said, this was something I was using before they gave me this. So if that tells you anything, I've been using it for quite a while. So anyway, I really appreciate them sending me this stuff. And of course, I will link their information down below and their products that I used. I only ended up using one of those, but I'm interested to try the other ones, you know, down the road, maybe as we get something a little more dirty. Let's go over here to the other side and take a look at it. I did hook the battery back up. I just think it's a good idea when you're messing with the airbags, because there's a sensor under here, and sometimes you'll get an airbag light if you don't do that. So always a good idea to unhook the battery. But other than that, guys, I'm not a big fan of these floor mats just because they look terrible. If you step on like a piece of concrete like this even and put your feet on them, it just, I don't know, they just track up, and they're not my favorite, but they are the original, and so I'm going to keep them in here for now. But I am a carpeted floor mat type of guy. So obviously we also got the door jambs all cleaned out. They look nice, other than spots where, you know, paint and there's really thick grease or something. You know, I didn't spend a ton of time on those. I just wanted to clean them up a little bit. But like I said, I think it looks a lot better. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I knocked, you know, this stuff that I used after cleaning it all is not greasy at all. It just gives a nice shine to it, protects, kind of coats. And I think it looks a lot better as well. The seats, everything looks good, guys. So hopefully you did enjoy this video. Like I said, I want to thank Super Clean again for sending me the shirt, the hat, and all the products. Even though we only used one, it's still cool. And like I said, maybe down the road we'll get something that's just really disgusting, and we'll see how good that other stuff does. So if you guys did like this video, please, like always, smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are not subscribed, please go down there and smash that subscribe button. Of course, ring the bell icon that notifies you every time we drop a new video, and stay tuned to see what we work on next.